No, this is Michelle Grimes.
Oh, it's Michelle Grimes. I'm sorry. I had the
Okay.
I had the Grimes name right in my mind. I had the wrong first name. It's Michelle Grimes. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Just wonderful. Our conversation brought to you this morning by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And Michelle is talking to us this morning about her work during Nurses Week. We're doing Nurses Week salutes this week. About her work in rehab care, which is a really, really interesting field. That's something that I bet you not a lot of people know about. Rehab care is something that it's really specialized, is it not?
It is. It's a lot of work because you think about it. You have a lot of hands that help out. You know, you have your physical therapy, your occupational therapy, speech therapy, and your nurses, the nurses' aides, the LPNs. There's the social worker that helps you out
Jeez,
with
it's a team.
planning everything.
It's a big team that does this.
It is.
So what is your role? What do you do?
I am a charge nurse on the rehab care unit. So basically, we give we give out assignments. We take assignments. We do what they call. We have a team meeting on Tuesdays that we discuss patients' progress with their families, and like it's in this again the staff with the doctor, the team. The doctor, the physical therapist, occupational, speech, social worker, and we talk about their progress to decide what the best option is for them to go home, and do they need to continue rehab at a skilled facility? Do they need to go somewhere to like a personal care home or something like that, or assistance?
Rehabilitation care is such a broad field because it's not as if you go to the hospital and you get something done and automatically you're 100%. There's a recovery period and a period during which you try to get back as much of your former mobility or whatever it happens to be that you need as you had before you had the difficulty that caused the hospitalization in the first place. Is that a good way to characterize what it is that you do?
It is, because you think about it. If you're not intending to have a stroke, and then when you're at the hospital, they work with you they work with you on like the telemetry floor. They'll work with you like the physical therapy, occupational therapy, and if they decide that hey, maybe they'll be a good candidate for the rehab care center, then they'll work on either like an authorization through their insurance, or if they're a Medicare patient, try to help them to get down to our unit to help them increase their like their functional levels. Yeah,
and I think that probably most folks think, okay, if it's a stroke victim, it's somebody who's elderly, and that's not even. I don't know if that's. I assume it's the majority of cases, but it's not all the cases.
No, it's not all the cases. You have younger folks that have strokes that you wouldn't think,
Yeah.
So
just out of the blue, it happens, and all of a sudden they're in a whole situation that they would not have anticipated, and probably no one else could anticipate something like that. So that all being the case, and you're having to work with a variety of different patients with a variety of different needs. Especially when you're talking about stroke. That's one of the things about stroke is that it can be completely debilitating. It can be something that is, on a relative scale, not as serious as people might think, but it all needs the sort of attention that you can give.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about something you just said a couple of moments ago, and it reminded me of football coaches when they're talking about their team meetings, and they have their quarterback room and their running back room, and then they develop the game plan, and then they go out and try to put it all together and to come up with a winning formula. That's pretty much what a rehab team would have to do, isn't it?
It is. Like I said, we also discuss like every morning. We also have like a stand up meeting, and we talk about each patient, see how they did like overnight, and we come up with the end of the plan of what we need to do for the day. And again, like I said, during the week on a Tuesday, we'll have our meetings and go, like I said, over everybody, set up what we think might be a tentative discharge date, discuss it with the patients, with the families, and we basically go from there. If they need education, we'll help them. We'll bring them in so that they can see how their family members moving, what they need, like hands-on training.
Yeah. That family aspect of it all is really, really important, especially when they're not there. They're not your captive there in their room, and so they're off on their own at home, and they have probably continuing care concerns where they have appointments where they can come in as outpatient. But that's where the family really comes in and has to step in and be a part of their solution.
Yes, they really do. They need to, we've had, just say somebody comes in and they're like, I don't know if I can do this. Do you think we could maybe possibly send them to, like, short-term after here just for a little bit more, like, fine-tuning, and then think maybe they can go home from there?
Yeah. It's interesting to me the way that you put that a couple of moments ago, that the family members have to buy into this. They really have to get educated themselves in order to be able to help their family member get back to what he or she once was.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We're talking with Michelle Grimes this morning, and we're talking about rehab care. Is stroke primarily or exclusively what you do?
It is a lot of what we do. We also have patients that have had that have been in, like, motor vehicle accidents, that have broken, like, they've had a broken hip and they need rehab. We used to do a lot of joints, but we don't do those quite as often. Or we have patients that have, like, Parkinson's disease, just to, help them be able to transfer and move better.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something else that I hadn't really considered, that those who suffer from Parkinson's would have their own rehabilitation needs. And that's a situation where you're not only helping them to regain their mobility or their stability, but you're also, in that case, dealing with a situation that can deteriorate as well if their medications are not going to be as effective as you would want them to be.
Yeah, and that can be a downside, that, or that their medication, like you said, the medications can hinder. So, but you try the best you can to help them get back to where they need to be.
So take me on the journey to Michelle Grimes becoming a nurse in the rehab unit at Indiana Regional Medical Center. Was it something that you all along knew that you wanted to do, or did you just find your way there?
Well, I've always wanted to be a nurse, so that's the start. I, of course, didn't go right out of high school. I went into the military first. I was in the Air Force first for 9.5 years, and then when I moved back to Pennsylvania, I started back into school. I've worked at IRMC since 2008. I was an aide first, and then actually I've been a nurse for 10 years.
Wow. And you said Air Force?
Yes, the Air Force.
Is that when you started the journey toward nursing?
Well, actually, it wasn't. My job was not anything health related, but it did help with the GI Bill, getting the GI Bill to help pay for school.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. You probably had to make a few choices there in the Air Force before you decided to follow the course that you did.
Yes, I did.
I would guess that in your life there's a little bit of fear, trepidation. Am I making the right move or am I not? But from what you're telling me of your experience there at IRMC, you made absolutely the right choice.
I did, and also that part of this was, like, my aunt. She passed away a couple of years ago, and she was a nurse. So she kind of was one of my, I guess, people you would say you look up to. Mm-hmm. She was probably one of my. She was an OR nurse at IRMC, and then she worked at the surge center there. It was across from Diamonds and at the IASA building. So.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've had some tremendous folks to help you along on this journey. If, as we celebrate Nurses Week, if you were to speak to somebody who was considering nursing as a career or as a life, what's the one or two things that you would say to them?
To me, honestly, to make sure that this is really what you want to do, because it's been with the pandemic, it has been a long haul. It has been a very rough year for all of us. But I have fantastic coworkers, and you have to really want to. I mean, you have to want to be, I guess, really want to take care. I really enjoy taking care of my patients. That's like my number one priority, is to take care of them. Sometimes you end up being second, but you really make sure you take care of your patients.
Yeah, it's that love of people, and
it is.
And the opportunity to be somebody who makes a difference in their life. It has been a joy talking with you this morning. I appreciate your time. I know that you're very, very busy.
Thank you. I'm working on my getting my bachelor's in nursing, so I'm working on schoolwork this morning.
Oh, there you go. That's just what you need, is a little bit more, huh? A little bit more on the plate. All right. Hey,
yes.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Michelle Grimes with us here this morning. It is Nurses Week. It is Nurses Week.